Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. And this is Sunday, and normally on Sunday we do talk about all things sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book related. And today we are going to be talking about something comic book related, but it's also Halloween. So we're going to be taking a look at the newest episode of Agatha All Along and breaking it down. So let's jump right into it. All right, so we're going to give our spoiler review of the latest episode of Agatha All Along. This is going to be kind of a full discussion that will contain spoilers, so you definitely don't want to watch it if you haven't seen the latest episode. So if you haven't seen episode 6, then go ahead and pause this video, go watch episode 6, and then come back so we can discuss all of the exciting things that happened within this episode. We'll wait. Alright, so now let's get into this. The latest episode of Agatha All Along is pretty amazing because it gives us an origin story of the teen. That is the most important thing here. The name of the episode is Familiar by Thy Side, and it focuses on flashbacks of William Kaplan, a teenager from Eastview who is celebrating his bar mitzvah when he encounters one of the witches. And she reads his palm and something doesn't go right. So we find out a couple things right away. She is the one that puts the sigil on him. But that's not all, because shortly thereafter, we find out that this whole flashback is taking place pretty much the eve that WandaVision ended. So WandaVision's little illusionary prison with all of her make-believe people is going away. Now, what happens? There's an accident. And it happens just as that whole illusion is collapsing. And Billy Kaplan dies. Only to have his soul taken by Wanda's imaginary kid. That's right. So it's kind of a bit like how this happened. So he doesn't remember anything. He's going through life pretending to be someone that he's not. And then we jump ahead to when he first decided to go and find the witch's road. So he kind of figured out over the couple years exactly what was going on. He started really being interested in all of that and knew from the beginning about his brother, Tommy. So he knew he had to go and find Tommy. That's kind of where we're at. So now he has to figure out how to go about this. And he meets with Ralph Boner. Yeah, that Ralph Boner. And it is sort of funny because Ralph has sort of become this conspiracy type of person, spinning a tale about everything that happened, but what he's saying is true. Everything that he says is actually true. This, of course, leads Billy, who can now read minds and knew all the right questions to ask, to go and find Agatha. He finds Agatha and we get the real story that happened in the pilot. So in the pilot, we saw things through her eyes and we kind of saw everything that she was seeing. But what she was seeing was all an illusion. It was part of the hex. It was part of that prison that Scarlet Witch had trapped her in, where she was forced to live out a life that wasn't her own. Now we kind of get his spin on things, where he's telling her everything, but she's not necessarily hearing what he has to say. And there's that sigil. So we hear what he says, and she doesn't. Then, of course, it takes us to where they are on the Witch's Road, and we see him and Agatha face off. Agatha gets out of the mud, and the other two aren't out of the mud yet, but that doesn't mean they're dead. Basically, the other two aren't in this episode for very long. They do make minor appearances in the flashback sequences. In fact, all of the witches sort of make a cameo in this, and that's interesting. But what we see here is him talking to her and telling her how things kind of are going. I don't trust you. I'll never trust you. You betrayed everybody. You know, he knows the score about Agatha. He doesn't trust her, but she figures out what he wants to find Tommy. And he says that he don't need her to go along the Witch's Road. Well, then you kind of get her laughing at this, going, really? Really? You don't need me? So they go off to find the next test. And when they do, Agatha kind of tells him, last one there is nice. And to which Billy kind of says, I'm not that nice. So he intends to beat her to the next trap. So this is kind of what I had said earlier. This kind of goes back now to what I was saying about this in the very first episode. When they went down the Witch's Road, I said, it seems to me like they're going to start to turn on each other. Actually, by the time the second episode hit, I kind of figured they were all in it for their own needs. They were all in it for their own desires, whatever they were seeking out. And they were going to turn on each other regardless. And this reinforces that. Now you have Wiccan and her on opposing sides. And that was the thing. He was confirmed to be Wiccan, and that's exciting. Now, I know a lot of people thought that maybe he was another person. Some people thought that he was Mephisto's son or something like that. And I kind of knew who he was from the beginning because the story was there. The idea was there. And you only need to look at the comics to figure out who he was going to end up being. Because if you look at the comics, there are similarities between Billy Maximoff in the comics and in the MCU, since we now know that's who he is. He was created by an unknown force. He inhabits the body of William Kaplan. And we also kind of see that he studies spells and knows incantations and stuff like that. So we do know all that. And the fact that they kept that he was Jewish and he was going to his bar mitzvah in the episode, and all that stuff was kind of kept in. So there are a lot of similarities as to what they did. Now, the comic book version is very complicated because it got changed several times over. And there was many versions of what happened. But all of them kind of had minor similarities. And this kind of took the lesser of all the evils, trying to make it so that it's not as complicated for the viewers to look at and see. Now, the thing of it is, it also leaves us to wonder if Wiccan is a bad guy in this or if he is a good guy. That's the idea here, but it's not really a thing because Wiccan in the comics is a good guy. He will be a good guy. And Agatha, of course, is the bad guy. Even though the series is about her, it's obvious that they are going to butt heads, that they are going to actually fight. That is obvious here. But they also need each other to get down the Witch's Road. And don't fear about the other two not showing up because the preview kind of showed us that they were around. So we do know they make a comeback. I think that what we're going to see here is more of the same. More of them fighting against each other rather than helping each other out. And that's going to be the rest of the season. We only have a handful of episodes left. So we have to get to a point where we get an ending that is satisfactory. And in order to do that, they are going to have that big challenge. We have not seen the last of the Salem 7. We have not seen the last of any other threats that they might face. And the fact that they are going back to this challenge, to this next test along the Witch's Road, is evidence towards this. It's also evidence that they're going to have to continue to work together no matter how they feel about each other until they get to the end of the Witch's Road. So the episode was really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I do want to know what you guys thought about this episode. Is there anything that happened that you think hints at a major plot twist in the end? What do you think is going to happen in the series? Once more, I pose the question, do you think we are going to get a Scarlet Witch appearance? Because her name was definitely dropped more than once in this episode. Do you think it's possible we'll get to see Tommy before the end of this series? I really do think it's possible we will. They are going to end up having some major battle. The only question is, what will this major battle, what will this major finale be? As always, we want to hear from you guys, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this conversation as well. And then don't forget to hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. Then Miko says we need more subscribers. And look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.